come into contact with you before you get the symptoms, or you may never get the symptoms, but are still able to pass on the virus to me. So it's so important for disclosure. And we, as the body of Christ, should ensure that nobody is stigmatized for disclosing the results. Reasons people withhold results is they are afraid of being stigmatized. But we must all embrace that this is a pandemic, and anybody can get it. So disclose your results. And once you've done that, you who have tested positive should self-isolate, and those who live close to you, within your household, or have come into contact with you must quarantine. So self-isolation is for he who is positive, and quarantine is for he who has come into contact with a positive person. The two often become very merged, and the boundaries between self-isolation and quarantine can become quite blurred. What do you do in self-isolation or quarantine? One of the most important things is to rest. In case you do develop symptoms and need to fight this disease, you need all the energy on board to fight the disease. At the same time, having said that, you also need to do an amount of exercise to build up your resistance, to build up your stamina. And the particular exercises are not just exercises for your muscle and general health, but particularly breathing exercises, because what generally kills people either at home, in a hospital, in ICU, is an inability to get enough oxygen. And normally we get oxygen through our nose, into our trachea, into the bronchi, into the lungs. So begin to train yourself on how to breathe efficiently. It has been shown that people who are able to breathe effectively have a much higher chance of walking out of the ICU, walking out of hospital, or never having to go to any of those facilities. Also, another very important thing that you should do once you test positive, and that you should do anyway in a pandemic, is to boost your immunity for the day or the time that you really need your immunity to come on full throttle to fight that virus. We'll come back to that. And then a certain small percentage of people will actually need active medical treatment. Let's start with boosting your immunity. That's something that we should all be doing now in anticipation of possibly coming into contact with the virus. So our immune system is enabled by other things that help it to stay in good condition, to help it to fight effectively. And those include fresh vegetables, fresh fruit that are high in zinc, in vitamin C, and any of the other minerals that help to fight disease. So what foods do we find that are high in zinc and vitamin C? Particularly the green vegetables, the very, very dark green vegetables. Some of those we grow in our garden. Some of those are found indigenously and grow wild. But things that we do grow are things like spinach, things like broccoli, the very dark greens, things like kale greens. Another food that has become very important, the legumes, beans of any kind, whether they are sugar beans, whether they are green beans, beans of any kind, high in zinc, liver, mushroom, and other foods as well. If you are unable to have access to enough of these in your diet to give you the daily recommended level of